Hey everybody, it's Jennifer, and I want to talk to you guys about something that I am so passionate about, something that is so dear to my heart, that is actually the reason why I became a birth and postpartum doula. And to kind of start, I will tell you guys a story of my personal experience and how I kind of came to where I am now with this, and why it's such a meaningful thing in my life. When I had my first son, Jackson, I brought him home. I had a hospital birth. Out of our 5 kids, our first 2 were hospital births. And I brought him home from the hospital, and I, like most new mothers, I had no clue what I was doing, what to do, how to get him to sleep. I was just so clueless. And I empathize with new mothers in that first few days where it's just, oh my goodness, it's such a learning curve, and you are so in love and so scared to death that you're gonna hurt this perfect little person. And it's an interesting time, and I remember it very, very well. But I get home, and this little guy does not want to sleep. He doesn't know night from day, and I'm beat, and I had a horrible tear, and so it was very challenging for me just to get around without, being in pain. And anyway, it was the second night, and I had tried everything to get him to sleep. I had this beautiful nursery that I had spent the entire 9 months decorating, and probably my entire life planning in my head, being so excited to be a mother finally. And he didn't want to sleep in the crib. And I had this beautiful rocking chair, and he didn't want to sleep in the rocking chair with me. I tried everything to get him to go to sleep. Finally, out of desperation, I fell asleep with him in my arms in our bed, and we both slept for, oh my goodness, probably 5 or 6 hours. It was crazy. And he was just asleep on my chest, listening to my heartbeat. And I was able to sleep because he was there, and I knew he was safe, and I could feel him breathing. And he was able to sleep because he was on me, and he could smell me, and he knew that he was safe and warm. And I woke up, and I felt this really odd sense of guilt, like I had done something wrong. I went downstairs, and I called my mother, and she said, sweetheart, you listen to your instincts, you listen to your gut, because you're coming from a place of love. And anything and everything that you do for this child will be from a place of love. And because of that, you won't do any wrong. And I thought, wow, that's such a beautiful kind of mantra to think about as a new mother, because it's so true. And yet we don't trust that in ourselves. The guilt came from reading a bunch of books. I tried to do as much research as I could on the best sleep habits, the best, way to parent a newborn and a toddler, and nowhere in those books did it say co-sleeping was okay. Honestly, nowhere in those books did it say follow your instincts, follow your guts. It just said these are rules, these are what you should do, or these are what worked for other moms. And while to an extent what works for other moms is great to learn, it's by no means any sort of rule book for new mothers. So I'm going to go back to what the point of this is I became a birth and postpartum doula, because I wanted to help mothers figure out their own rules, help figure out their own methods. And in order to do that, it had nothing to do with how I had parented. It had everything to do with what that mother felt was appropriate and right for that baby. And I think we've gotten so far detached from listening to our instincts, listening to our gut. And I've had a lot of mothers say, I don't know what to do, and I don't feel like I'm going to have that. And we have, as a society, become so detached from listening to ourselves. And it's time, when you have this baby, to really stop and listen to what your heart tells you, what your gut tells you. Your maternal instinct will kick in immediately. It's so important. The books, I feel like you shouldn't read any. I feel like it sets up expectations, and it gives you this false sense of control over a situation that is not in control. You have no control over this. You don't know if your baby is going to want to sleep through the night or not. You have no control as to whether your baby maybe has gas issues or tummy issues or you don't know your baby's personality until it comes out. And man, they are brimming with personality from the moment you give birth to them. I have 5 children, and each one of them was so different from the moment they were born. Their personalities varied so dramatically, and they still do. And so you don't know. So in order to not set yourself up for disappointment, think, I'm going to do this sleep training method. I just wouldn't read them, but that's my personal preference. 4th trimester, that is what I am so passionate about. This very fragile time, when it's this amazing and precious time, when your baby has been taken care of in your womb. Your baby has had all of its needs met. It's been warm and fed and comfortable, listening to your heartbeat, cozy and happy, and all of a sudden it's out in this big world, and there are allergens that are messing with this little nose, and bright lights and loud noises and different temperatures, and all of a sudden this person who has been so close to them, mom, is no longer attached. And so they don't know, and I'm sure they're not consciously thinking this, but the most important needs that they have had met, food and warmth, those aren't taken care of anymore. They're this extraneous variable now that is a scary thing. And so of course, they cry, and that's only them talking and trying to tell you what they need. It's not hurting or anything like that. They just have no other ways of communicating, but they cry and they need certain things. They need to be warm. They need to feel you, know you're there. And I think so many mothers read these books, or they assume that since they've given birth to the baby, that it's now this whole different ballpark where you can set them down and leave them down for a long time, and you expect them to lay in this crib and sleep. My best suggestion that I have told all my clients is put yourself in their situation. If you just close your eyes and think about what it must have been like to be in the womb and to not have to worry about any of that stuff. And then to come out and feel the dramatic difference of what it's like to be out. So my suggestion was bridge that gap, ease them into the world as best you can. How I've done it is with all of my kids is I am a big advocate for safe co-sleeping. That is a big one for me. I have never been at a loss of sleep. Once I found co-sleeping and being able to nurse laying down, our last child, who's now 7 weeks tomorrow, he's slept through the night, and I say through the night because he does wake up to nurse, but I nurse him laying down, so we both just go back to sleep. But he's slept through the night since day 2. There's some interesting techniques that you can utilize that I have with all 5 of my children that have allowed me to be completely rested, the children to be completely rested, all the rest of the children to be completely rested. It's wonderful. It's great, but I'll touch on that later. I'm a big advocate for co-sleeping. They need to know you're there. They need to feel you, your body warmth, your breath. There are a lot of studies that are out there that have said that SIDS is dramatically reduced because if you're next to them and you're breathing, they kind of mirror their breathing habits to yours, and so it again, it's one of those things. There's lots of different theories on that, but I'm a big advocate for baby wearing. Not only is it so convenient for the mama, because I swear there's no way I would be able to get anything done around the house with 5 kids. With this newborn, if I was holding on to him all the time and trying to help with homework and make dinner and clean and all that stuff, there's no way I could do it without baby wearing. So there's different techniques of doing that, but also they're on you. They feel you. They know you're there to meet their needs when they need them. And that creates such a secure child. So when you do end up laying them down, because inevitably, yes, we all do. There's things that I need to do that I can't do with the baby on me. Showering, taking those precious moments to myself to do my rituals that make me feel good. Spend time with my husband and other children, my other children. So it's inevitable that you are going to have to set them down. But when you do, you'll find that if you practice this, easing them into the world and being very, very close to them as often as you can by, sleeping next to them, napping next to them, wearing them, nursing on demand is another one. You'll find that they are so much more secure. So when you do set them down, they don't worry about their needs being met. They don't panic like I've seen so many babies do, because their mom is timing their next feed based on something that a book's told them. Whereas if you nurse on demand, they know, gosh, when I'm hungry, and of course the baby knows when they're hungry more so than you do. We know when we're hungry. Nobody else really can tell us that. Babies are the same way. So when they say, I'm hungry, and it was 20 minutes after they last ate, and you feed them, they're going to have that security in knowing that, gosh, my needs are going to be met. And so if I'm set down, I'm going to be A-okay, because mom will meet my needs in a timely manner. If there's a mom out there who has read a book that tells them you feed every 2 hours and that's it, and they're crying for food or crying in a crib to have, mom close, then that sense of security is not going to be there. And it makes a huge difference all the way through their lives. Our oldest right now is 11, and I've noticed that, the little things that I can tell, hopefully, had something to do with the fact that he has had his needs met. You can't spoil a newborn. An 11-year-old, yes, you can spoil. I'm not going to meet his needs at all times. He says he wants a snack, then he's going to have to wait because dinner's coming. But with a newborn, you cannot spoil them. There's no way. They are very, what you see is what you get. They're not trying to manipulate you. When they're hungry, they're hungry. There's no other factors in play there. When they need warmth, they need warmth. It's not a manipulation. So you cannot spoil a newborn. I cannot stress that enough. You cannot spoil a newborn. So going back to the basis of the 4th trimester, put yourself in their place. Feel how wonderful it must have been to have all of your needs met and so comfortable and happy with the main person in your life, which is mama. And then try to figure out what that process of separation is and how scary and uncomfortable that must be, and what it is that you would want to happen, how you would want to feel as a very helpless little person who needs you. You are their lifeline. You are their source of everything. It's just it's so interesting because you look at these little people, and even if you had read a bunch of books, you look at them and you say, I will do anything for you. I'd throw myself in front of a bus for you. I would do anything for you. And I just want you happy. I want you comfortable. And I think a lot of moms finally come to that realization somewhere along the line of in that first few months that what books are telling you, what other people are telling you is great for them, but it might not work for you. And so my best advice is to just be open, listen to your gut, listen to your heart, listen to your mom intuition that will inevitably come out if you just stop and let it. And just look at that little person and know that all the choices that you're going to make are out of love, because you do adore that person. And so you can't make wrong choices for them if it's coming from a place of love. And ease them in nicely. Be conscious of loud noises. Be conscious of bright lights. Be conscious of all this environmental stuff that they've never had to deal with before. And know that you are what they need. You are all that they need. And they just want to be with you all the time. And, now having an 11-year-old who's about to start middle school, I can tell you that right now it might be a little taxing having this person on you all the time. Sleeping next to you, on you, baby wearing, you just feeling like you're just constantly nursing. But it goes by so fast. And I look at my middle schooler now, and it is one of those things where I'm so happy that he's turning into a little person, but you will miss those times when they were on you and want to be on you all the time. And so cherish them, cherish this little person, and know that it will go by fast. So enjoy every second of it. And until next time, thank you so much, and be well.